Every day on this channel, we go through everything that the official President of the United States account posted, as well as the President posted on his personal account without a political bias or narrative. I'm your host, Isaac, and let's get right into it. All right, so we saw this yesterday. An ICE officer shot a lady after she supposedly tried to run over him with her car. Donald Trump posted that he just viewed the clip of the event, which took place in Minneapolis, and he said it was a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming, obviously, was a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. He says, based on the attached clip, it's hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. And that was posted by the White House and reposted by Trump. And Nicole Parker on Fox News said, when a vehicle is coming at you and is being used as a weapon, deadly force is justified. And Trump reposted that. And JD Vance said, I want every ICE officer to know that their president, vice president, and the entire administration stands behind them. And he says, to the radicals assaulting them, doxing them, and threatening them, congratulations. We're going to work even harder to enforce the law. And Trump reposted that, saying, stand with ICE. And let's take a look at Somali Fraud. Trump said to arrest everyone committing fraud, that they are criminals. And this was reposted by the White House, quoting a story about how Somali cash exodus from Minneapolis is exponentially larger than other major U.S. airports. Officials say movement of cash out of Minnesota was substantially abnormal and should have raised red flags during the Biden administration. Apparently, it was 10 to 100 times larger than the total foreign exodus of money. And Trump says that we need to pass the SAVE Act to stop non-citizens from voting. And according to Trump, he was just informed that Venezuela is going to be purchasing only American-made products with the money they receive from our new oil deal. These purchases will include, among other things, American agricultural products and American-made medicines, medical devices, and equipment to improve Venezuela's electric grid and energy facilities. And he says, in other words, Venezuela is committing to do business with the United States of America as their principal partner, saying it's a wise choice and a very good thing for the people of Venezuela and the United States. And this was reposted by the White House and reposted by Trump. Trump also had the opportunity to speak with the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro. He said that Gustavo Petro called to explain the situation of drugs and other disagreements that they had. Trump said he appreciated his call and tone and looked forward to meeting with him in the near future. Arrangements are being made between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the Foreign Minister of Colombia. The meeting will take place in the White House in Washington, D.C. And he also calls out Republicans, saying that they should be ashamed of the senators that just voted with Democrats in attempting to take away our powers to fight and defend the United States of America, calling out Suzanne Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, Josh Hawley, and Todd Young, saying they should never be elected to office again. This vote greatly hampers American self-defense and national security, impeding the president's authority as commander-in-chief. In any event, and despite their stupidity, the War Powers Act is unconstitutional, totally violating Article 2 of the Constitution, as all presidents and their Department of Justice have determined before me. Nevertheless, a more important Senate vote will be taking place next week on this very subject. And if you guys are unaware, the War Powers Resolution says that the president has to notify Congress of any sort of military action within 48 hours. And if his action has boots on the ground and isn't approved by Congress, he has 60 days to remove the troops, which I think was pushed back to 90 days now. And speaking of the military, Trump says, I have determined that for the good of the country, especially in these very troubled and dangerous times, our military budget for the year 2027 should not be $1 trillion, but rather $1.5 trillion. And this was reposted by the president. All right, and last but not least, Trump says that auto sales crushed expectations in 2025, the industry's strongest performance since 2019. Apparently, new U.S. vehicle sales rose 2.4%, the industry's strongest performance since 2019. All right, so that was everything that the president posted about today. We got to hear more about the situation in Minneapolis with the ICE officer as that's developing. We also got to hear about Venezuela and how they're investing in America. And we got to see how Donald Trump has exported the most cars from the United States to other countries since 2019. As always, if you want to support this channel, consider subscribing, and I am out.